Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Nora, and to my old subscribers, thank you so much for coming back once more. Alright, so what's happening? I trust you all are doing good, right? Okay, before we continue with the discussion we have for today, that is how HIV attacks the body and how one gets to transmit it to another person, I would like to be making some corrections on the video that I posted sometime last 2 weeks. Do you understand? As regards to that, the count for undetectable viral load is no more 50. Yeah, they're trying to say that if your viral load is 50, there are chances that it can be detectable. So it's safe to say that undetectable viral loads can be counted from 40, 30, 20, 10 and above. That's just it. But please don't see this as a discouragement. Just keep on adhering to your draws, because in as much as you've attained 50, you will definitely attain 20. Do you understand? Like, you are a hero. Keep doing this, and I love you for that. Another one happens to be the preventive medication for those that their partners are positive. Yes, you know, I mentioned that you can be taking PrEP and PEP. Yes, it's safe to say that you can be taking PrEP, but PEP is mostly used in terms of emergency situations. That's probably if the person happens to be raped, it's advisable to take the PrEP within 72 hours of the incident. So let's just keep PrEP aside for emergency situations. So that's just it for that. Do you understand? So let's dive into what we have for today. But before we dive into that, please just give me some few minutes. Let me go and clear my head off and be ready to tackle the myth, misconceptions we have about transmission of HIV. I'll be right back. Welcome back. So HIV, how does it attack the body system? You know, I believe that any name that something answers, it gets to act based on the name. Because just as the name implies, human immunodeficiency virus is a virus that makes your immune system deficient. Do you understand? So now let me relate it to this story of a man that stays just alone with his security, and one fateful day the security forgot to lock the door, only for it to give room to a stranger to creep in and attack the security. So as the security is being attacked, the man is left with just two options. It's either left for him to call 911, that's the security personnel, that it could be the police or the army, or better still, make up his mind to be attacked as well. So now I'm going to relate it to HIV. The stranger that creeps in here is the virus, because what this virus does is that it creeps in and attacks the white blood cell. That is either called white blood cell or CD4 cell, and the function of this cell is that it helps to fight against infection and diseases. So now you see the security that is being attacked here is the white blood cell. Do you understand? And then when it attacks this white blood cell, it makes the immune system weak. The man here is now your body. Yes, so it's now left for your body to be placed on antiretroviral medication. The antiretroviral medication now in the story is the 911 that is being called. That's the security personnel. So it's now this antiretroviral medication that will now help to stop the multiplication of this virus in your system. Because if it's not being stopped, this same stranger will attack you. This virus will make the immune system low, and when the immune system is weak, it gives room to infections that we call opportunistic infections. They can be candidiasis, pneumonia, tuberculosis, etc., etc. They have so many of them, and when this one creeps in, it's as good as AIDS. And you know what AIDS means. The whole thing is that this virus attacks the immune system called the white blood cell, and if it's not being detected on time and being placed on medication, this virus gets to keep on multiplying. It takes over your immune system and it knocks down your immune system, giving room to all forms of infections. So that's why it's good for you to be placed on antiretroviral medication. The only way to be placed on this medication is when you go for your HIV test. So Some people do theirs once in 3 months, some do theirs once in 6 months. It all depends on you. Do you understand? And I want you to have it in mind that there is no cure yet for HIV, but it's treatable. Yes. Remember what I said in my last video. In case you've not watched it, please do well to watch it. If you're taking your medication, if you're adhering to your medication consistently, it will help to reduce the viral load. It will help to reduce the multiplication of this virus. And when the multiplication of the virus is being that, you now get to live a good long life, in as much as there is no unforeseen circumstance that will hinder you on the way. Do you understand? So that's just how this virus attacks the system. Now, let's talk about the mode of transmission. I want you to have something in mind that for HIV transmission to take place, 4 things are meant to be present. Yes, there has to be direct contact with the body fluid, direct contact with the body fluid of a HIV infected person with detectable viral load. Yes, if these 4 things are not present, transmission will not take place. And now, what are these body fluids through which HIV is being transmitted, that helps HIV to be transmitted? One of them is blood. The second one is semen. Third one is vaginal fluid. Fourth one is rectal fluid or anal fluid. You know, anything that has to do with the rectal is also related to the anal. And the last one is breast milk. If there's any other one, I don't really know, but to the best of my knowledge, these are the 5 body fluids through which HIV is being transmitted. Now, what are the ways? So talking about the ways now, we're going to break it into 3 different levels, starting from the most common way to the less common way, and now to the extremely rare ways. So let's dive into the first one that we'll have. So the first one we'll have here on the most common way through which HIV is being transmitted is having vaginal or anal sex with someone who has HIV without using your condom the right way, or even taking your preventive medication every time you have sex. Yes, I have to make mention of the kinds of sex which you have for you to easily get it, because there are other kinds of sex which you can also have and you won't easily be infected with this virus. But when it comes to the vaginal and anal sex, the risk is way too high, and anal is even higher than vaginal. I don't want us to start discussing about that. That will definitely be a topic for another day. And now coming to the condom, because you see some instances of people saying that I slept with her using condom, so why am I still testing positive for HIV? Yes, there could be chances that you didn't use a condom correctly. Do you understand? Because there's not everyone that knows how to use condom. I'm not here. Today is not a day to start teaching you how to use condom. Please, you can actually watch on YouTube on the correct way which you can use your condom, so that when you're having your sex, you can just enjoy. Having that in mind, that your condom is well situated. Do you understand? And then taking your preventive medication. Remember, I made mention of PrEP. Yes, PrEP is a preventive medication which you take to prevent HIV in a situation where you don't know the health status of the other person. Do you understand? And it's not just good enough to use PrEP. You have to use both PrEP and condom, because PrEP only protects against HIV, while condom protects both HIV, sexually transmitted infection, and also pregnancy. Condom is an all-rounder, while PrEP is just for HIV. So it's always ideal for you to use the both to fight. Do you understand? Next one we'll have here on the most common way, that's the second one we'll have under the most common way, is sharing injection equipment. This is for those that inject drugs. That's sharing injection equipment with someone that is infected with HIV. Remember, we said that one of the body fluids which helps in transmitting HIV is blood, and these injection equipments, they carry blood in them. and this blood carries HIV. So when you get to share it with someone that's infected with HIV, there's every chance that you'll be infected with this virus too. So always try to have your own injecting equipment, or better still, you sterilize it. Do you understand? So that's it for the most common ways through which HIV is being transmitted. So now let's go to the less common ways. First one we have here is mother to child transmission. Yes, you know, if the mother happens to be HIV positive, there is every chance that she could transmit the virus to the baby either during pregnancy, during birth, or during breastfeeding. But all thanks to our medical practitioners that ensure that every pregnant mother is being carried out a test before the person is registered on antenatal. I don't know whether it's before, or I don't know how they do it, but I'm very sure that pregnancy test is being carried out on every pregnant mother. So with this, it has helped to mitigate, it has helped to reduce the mother to child transmission. Guys, the second one we have here under the less common way is being caught by sharp objects or even by needle. Although this normally takes place amongst people in the health sector because they get to handle these needles and syringes more. So when they are being caught, it's also very risky. As people in the health sector, I believe that they always know how to go about that. But if you happen to get yourself in a situation where you're being caught by a sharp object that is being used by a HIV infected person, I will encourage you to first of all put your hand over a running water so you can wash out that blood at that point in time before you go back, before you start going to the hospital. It's now when you get to the hospital they will be in the best position to know what to do about it. So that's just the two for the less common way. Now we're coming to the extremely rare cases of transmission. So now when it comes to the extremely rare cases, the chances of transmission is very slim, like tiny. So that's why I will try my possible best to break it down for you to understand. Is at this point people get confused, like they have a lot of misconceptions. That's why I want you to understand it very well. The first one we have here is oral sex. Yes. There can only be risk of transmission when having oral sex if the partner, let me say, if the partner that is HIV positive gets to ejaculate, that gets to release inside the mouth of the other person. For instance, now let me say it's a guy that is receiving the blowjob. A guy is giving a lady a blowjob, and the guy happens to be HIV positive. And now this guy now releases in the mouth of the other partner, that is the lady that is giving him the blowjob. And it happens to be that this lady has bleeding gums or open wounds in her mouth. There are chances that she might be infected. Do you understand? That's one of the factors that might bring about transmission here, is bleeding gums or open wounds in the mouth. Do you understand? Or let's now put it the other way around. If it happens to be that the guy is the person giving the lady the blowjob and the lady is HIV positive, and it happens to be that this lady who is HIV positive has some genital sores, that she has sores around her vagina or her pussy, there are chances that the guy might be infected too. And to worsen the whole case, and it happens to be that this same guy also have bleeding gums, open wounds, there are chances that the guy might be infected. So when it comes to oral sex, factors that might bring about the infection happens to be bleeding gums, oral ulcer, presence of sexually transmitted infection, because you don't even know the whether the person you're giving the blowjob has any form of disease. So that's why it's always good for you to know the health status of your partner, not just HIV status. Also go as far as knowing the genotype. Do you understand? Yes, I know I'm not meant to bring in genotype, but I know the reason why I'm bringing in genotype. So still under the extremely rare cases, the second one we have here is being bitten by someone that is HIV positive. Please, I want you to know that HIV is not being transmitted through saliva. So transmission can only occur in this case if there are broken skin. That's if the person that beat you happens to tear your skin, if there is a cut, that's when there can be transmission. But if there is no tear, there is no open cut, sweetheart, HIV doesn't transmit through saliva. But you can also do well to go to the test for but you can also do well to go to the facility for a checkup if you're still doubting yourself. The third one we have here when it comes to extremely rare cases is having deep or open mouth kissing with a HIV infected person. Still on what I said the first time, HIV is not being transmitted through saliva. So in this case, transmission can only occur if the both parties have bleeding gums. Do you understand? And the blood from the person that is infected happens to enter into the bloodstream of the other person, then that's when you can say that there might be chances of transmission. So it's always cool for you to be sure of health status and for you to show that there is no bleeding gum. And I know that you'll be like, how are you going to know if there is no bleeding gum? Well, if your partner is very honest, if it's someone that truly loves you, the person will do well to open up to you about his or her health status. The last one we have here under extremely rare cases is eating food that is being pre-chewed by a HIV infected person. Well, this only applies to infants. For instance, it happens to be that the mother or the caregiver is HIV positive and this person wants to chew the food before giving it to the baby. And it happens to be that during the course of chewing this food, the blood of this caregiver or the mom that is HIV positive gets to mix up with the food that she's about to give the infant. There is every possibility that the child might be infected. So it's always good for you to seek directives from your doctor if you are a HIV positive mother, because your doctor will be in the best position to tell you how to go about that. But aside from that, you can actually eat a food that is being handled, that is being cooked by a HIV infected person, and you won't be infected with HIV. With that being said, now I'm going to be listing out the ways through which HIV is not being transmitted. Alright guys, with that being said, we've come to the end of today's video. Please do well to share, do well to subscribe, do well to like and drop your reactions on what you feel about this video. Do you understand? And thank you so very much for your time. I really do appreciate it. I still remain your darling girl, Fashion Nora. See you next time.